Hello and welcome to the Empower Couples podcast, where here you get modern, non-boring relationship advice for you and your partner to communicate like pros, fight smarter, and stay on the same team no matter the challenge that you face. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Freeman.
And I'm Jocelyn Freeman, but you all just know us as the Freemans.
And this episode is about what are you actually committed to in your relationship.
And this is going to be an episode that is a quick hitter, but the goal is that it realigns you, it checks you, it gets you invigorated to, upgrade yourself in the relationship.
Is it like a relationship gut punch?
Kinda, yeah. Woo! But in a fun way from the Freemans.
Fun gut punch way.
If that exists. And so we literally got off a session about an hour ago, and one of the questions, we were debriefing conflict and working through some things in conflict, but one of the questions I asked was, when was the last time that you two either reflected on or shared out loud what you're committed to in the relationship? And they both were kind of like, I think on our wedding day. We've kind of sort of said nice things to each other throughout the years, but really it hasn't been since the wedding. And for those of you listening who are married, you probably are like, yeah, same for me. Besides our wedding day, besides going up there and sharing our vows, I don't know if I've turned to my partner and have said, hey, I'm committed to this in our relationship. Or if you're coming out of a challenging season, perhaps you haven't paused and actually either asked yourself and also shared with your partner what you're actually committed to in the relationship.
I love this conversation because the wedding vows are pretty much the only time couples think about real commitment. But the wedding vows, as great as they can be, especially if they are from the heart, and I think not just the ones that are repeated, can still feel conceptual. Like take, I'm committed to loving and honoring and respecting till death do us part. I mean, it's just too repetitive to really mean anything. You ready for this? Day to day.
Yes.
Because they don't live for you. Another way to say it is, you're not present to that every day. And the point of all this is you are committed to something all of the time. Your commitment is actually what drives your actions. And if you wanted to know what you were actually committed to, not like an idea, oh yeah, I'm committed to loving you. If you look at your actions, that will tell you more day to day what you're committed to. And not just day to day, Jocelyn, right? You're committed to something every moment.
Exactly. And, that can seem like, gosh, that's a tall order, Freeman. So what? I'm supposed to every single day kind of come up with a commitment? Yes. You have to be an intentional human being. And that doesn't have to mean you sit down for 3 hours and you're like, what am I committed? No, this can be something you're getting ready in the morning. We set our intentions like while we're exercising, and then we meditate. We've shared that with you all on several episodes, and we're presencing, like, what is my intention today? How do I want to show up today? What am I committed to in our relationship? Because when you don't do this, you show up by default. And the default way that humans show up is kind of cranky, kind of passive, ornery,
kind
defensive.
Of thinking about the things that you're not liking, that you would want to be different. So kind of what you're committed to is focusing on all the things that you don't like.
Exactly.
That's kind of a commitment.
Or even just kind of, I'm committed to giving the bare minimum today. I'm committed to being on autopilot. Like when you aren't choosing what you're committed to, the default commitment ain't great.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Well, and then you get into a little conflict, right? And in the moment when you have emotion, and when I say you, I can also just say myself here, what do you get committed to in a conflict?
Being right.
Probably some version of that. Your perspective is right. You're committed to having your partner understand what your experience was, or you're committed to having them see it exactly your way. And when you really think about it, when that is your commitment, and I'm saying when you're in a conflict, that probably is it. How do your actions show that? Your tone gets louder. You talk over your partner. You're not really listening, right? So that's not really a commitment of having your partner feel understood or loved or respected or, let's go to the vows, honored or cherished. you traded those commitments in at your wedding day to, you're going to hear my side. You're going to see it my way. And that's what you're committed to in that moment.
Yes. And I love that you brought that up in terms of like conflict in those moments. I want to even zoom out for a second and just think about your days, your weeks, your months together.
Yeah.
And I want to, again, this is a gut check episode, right?
Oh boy, here we go, gut punch.
We know that a lot of you are parents and, you know, you have littles. I talked to one of my best friends. She's got 2 kids under 2 today. I hear all the pressures that are going on for her. And it's a lot, you know, being a parent and working and being a partner. There's a lot going on. So any person could say, well, that's why we haven't had time for a date, or that's why I don't have time for, you know, taking care of myself, etc. What I want to invite you into, this is always a good reminder for us too, is that what you're committed to is not just in what you say, it truly is in what you're choosing to do, your choices. Mm-hmm. So if you say you're committed to a great marriage, a great relationship, but at night, you're on your phone and watching TV and you're saying, oh, but we never are intimate. Then you're actually more committed to your phone and TV than your relationship.
Which might actually sound more likely is you're committed to relaxing for yourself, or you're committed to entertaining yourself. Mm-hmm. You're not just committed to a phone. You're committed to some experience or outcome that gives you.
Yeah.
So in that moment, you got to be honest. You are more committed to relaxing and feeling rejuvenated or disconnecting than you are to connecting.
And we're not saying that's a bad thing. Aaron and I love a good show. We love a good movie. We're not saying that you shouldn't have that time for relaxation. Here's what you could go and say. I'm committed to really great rejuvenation time and I'm committed to our marriage. All right, let me check. Is my commitment to us showing up in the choices that I make? Mm-hmm. In how we plan our weekend, is our commitment really being portrayed in that? Or do we continue to come up with excuse after excuse after excuse for why certain things don't happen? What you want to do, and we're inviting you into this with this gut punch episode, is to have your commitment be stronger than your excuses. All the reasons you can't do certain things and make time for yourself and make time for your partner and speak kindly to them and be loving to them. All of those reasons, they're not as powerful as you are. You, the one listening, when you really step into the power of your commitment and when you put your mind and your heart to something and you mean it, you can overcome any of those circumstances.
And what that might actually sound like is, hey, partner, I'm really committed to supporting you in this season. I am committed to connection. And what I see for myself, to be able to do that, I need some time to fill my own cup. So notice how that's a lot different than not saying anything to your partner and then being on your phone and living life unconsciously, to what those actual subconscious commitments are, to actually saying, here's what I'm committed to, and letting your actions, first driven by your communication, hey, here's what I'm committed to, and here's what I see I need for myself to be able to fulfill on that commitment for you and for the relationship.
Yeah. So with this short episode, I want to give you some takeaway questions to ask yourself. Number 1, when was the last time we even shared our commitment with each other? Because it is really powerful when you say that out loud to your partner. And that could be one sentence. It could be an hour-long conversation. Just saying something like, I'm committed to us. I'm committed to being the best partner I can be for you, right? Something along those lines. So that's the first question. The second question is for you to even ask yourself, what am I actually committed to in the relationship? Have I been more committed to, like you said, Aaron, kind of being right or kind of just getting by, kind of surviving? Or am I committed to a magnificent, amazing, fulfilling partnership? Then once you presence your commitment, you got to ask yourself the next tough question. Are my choices adequately showing and portraying my commitment? And if not, you got to connect those two, your commitment to your choices. And perhaps there might be some new choices that you need to start making, and start with at least one new one today. How can you today hear this episode from the Freemans and not just have it be an idea, but make at least one new choice that moves you closer and closer to fulfilling on the type of relationship that you want.
One more great question is, upon reflection of this podcast episode, if you went to your partner and said, well, I know we had those vows, but what I realized I've actually been committed to is this, and revealing that to them. And, one example is sometimes you can have different ideas about how those commitments get fulfilled. And so just being able to say them out loud. For instance, I'm committed to supporting the family. And so that commitment has driven you to spend a lot of time at work and earn money, which provides for the family financially. But you may reflect on that and say, but I've been giving so much time to work that I realized it doesn't fulfill on the commitment to supporting you, because there are lots of other ways to support you. Emotionally, being here, helping in certain ways. Mm-hmm. So notice how that can become a conflict, because maybe your partner says, you're always gone. I'm doing that for you. I'm doing that to support the family. And then you're justified in your actions. Well, again, reflect on, what is your commitment? Oh, support. Okay, there are multiple ways of support for a family, for an individual. So you might want to look at some additional ways and not just say, don't you know this is my intent? Don't you know this is why I'm doing this? Well, no, they don't, because you haven't shared that.
Mm-hmm. Well said. I love that. And, again, today you might be getting present to, you want to recommit to showing up with great energy for your relationship. Maybe you want to recommit to a healthy environment for your family. Whatever it is, recommit, make a new choice. And if you feel so compelled, tell us what that commitment is. Send us a DM on Instagram. We're Meet the Freemans. We love hearing from you all. Truly love hearing from you all. And for those of you who haven't read our book, go ahead and check out The Argument Hangover and see how that can be one new choice you make for your commitment to the relationship. Is, hey, I want to be an even better communicator. I want to unlearn some of my unhealthy patterns with conflict and shorten our argument hangovers. And you can do that at theargumenthangover.com. Either way, we love hearing from you, and we will talk to you all on the next episode.